Hi there, Karen Flaherty here from Living by Human Design. Hope you're doing well today. Today for the Human Design Weather Report, we're going to be talking about the Gate 50, which is all about values and nurturing and creating laws in society. So we've got the Sun in Gate 50 and we've got the Earth in Gate 3, which is called difficulty or trouble at the beginning. I'll explain that in a moment. But the Sun is in Gate 50, which is the Gate of Values. It started today, October 19th, and it goes until October 24th, late in the day. And then we'll have a new one on the 25th. So we start the week again with this continued definition in the 2034 for the entire week. The channel of charisma is still there. Some of the planets have gone direct, including Mercury in retrograde, which is probably a good thing for most of us. They went direct yesterday, the 18th. And then Uranus and Neptune are still retrograde, and they'll be that way for a little bit longer. So what we've got today is the Gate 50, which comes off the spleen again. And this is so another one of the fear gates, but also the Gate of Values. And it's all about nurturing. It's part of the defense circuit here. This entire channel is called the channel of preservation. So literally it's about keeping the values of society, of the culture, of the tribe, of the country. It's that kind of energy. And it's a very caring energy. It's a very nurturing energy. It keeps not only the families and cultural institutions alive, but it also keeps the rules and the regulations and the laws that we create alive for the good of everyone, right? And so sometimes those change over time, but basically it's to keep them all, basically keeping society together. And then with the Gate 3, that comes off the bottom of the sacral right here, and that connects to the 60, which is this is the entire channel of evolution or growth. So there might be trouble at the beginning, but the end point is always to get to growth and evolution. So as we move later in the week, by Sunday, the last day of these transits, we're actually going to be adding the Gate 24 up here in Uranus, and it's going to connect to the 61, which is in Pluto. And that'll create this entire channel of awareness, which is all about holistic thinking. It's kind of the middle bridge in the human design system between the right and the left brains, right? And it's the holistic thinker. So it's always asking why and then rationalizing with this Gate 24. And so that will give everybody on Sunday, and that will last for a few days at least, this head and ajna defined, as well as the sacral and the throat defined. So lots of energy. So as I said, we've got the Sun in Gate 50 and the Earth in Gate 3. So the Gate 50 is called values, or the cauldron. It's literally supposed to be the entirety of all the values in the cauldron of culture, right? Of our tribe, of our, whatever keeps everything together in the society, and that's in the original I Ching. And so the description is the value of historical continuity, whose traditional values serve and enrich the present and the future. So literally, we're having the laws and the understandings and all the norms, right, from the past, bringing them into the future, and actually benefiting by them in the present. Of course, these will change over time. Things change over time. Rules change over time. Our values change over time to a certain extent. But this defense circuit is all about the values of the family and keeping people together and raising children to adulthood. And so this 50 happens to be a very, very nurturing energy. It's the kind of energy that you would want to see in perhaps a judge, right? Because it's actually the rule of one of the incarnation crosses is the cross of laws. So it's literally it's about making the laws for all of us. And another one of the crosses is values, and then the third is wishes. Difficulty at the beginning is also called ordering for Gate 3, and this is the fundamental challenge of initiation to transcend confusion and then establish order. So in other words, there might be some difficulty at the beginning, but as it comes off the sacral, and 70% of us are generators and have the sacral defined, Usually what's happening is that there's a little bump in the road, or something happens at the beginning of a project or a new situation or a marriage or a friendship or the birth of a child. Anything like that has some difficulty at the beginning, it allows us to recommit, right? It allows us to make sure that this is what we really want to do, and then recommit ourselves to doing that, get over the bump, figure it out, and move on, right? And so it's really about having this will, this commitment, this sacral gut feeling to move ahead and to transcend the confusion and then establish order after that. And so that's why it's also called ordering. So in the gene keys, chaos is the shadow, innovation is the gift, and innocence is the CD. Because you can imagine, if we've got trouble at the beginning and it doesn't get resolved, it can obviously lead to chaos. So this week we've got a beautiful, in the gate 50, a butterfly and flower graphic where Richard says, cultivate awe, cultivate peacefulness, and cultivate truth. The end point is the harmony, right? The CD, the highest expression of this nurturing of values for the society, is all about harmony. It's all about bringing everybody together, having really just giving up the idea of separateness and bringing everyone together. Now, that might not be as easy when there are so many different nations or understandings or religions or philosophies or different laws. I mean, you can create a law, and as Richard also says, as soon as you create a law, you'll have somebody who's revolting against it, right? But the end idea would be to have the harmony that we all really, well, most of us want, right? The peacefulness, the peaceful culture, the peaceful city or state or nation that we all want. So he also says, when the frequency running through a whole society decreases, chaos and corruption rule. So the shadow is corruption here with the 50. And you can imagine that some people who know the laws or the regulations or the norms of the society may flaunt those, right? And not think, not take them to heart, not want to continue the values of the society, or have some selfish ideas with regard to either greed or breaking the laws, or finding ways to break the laws that leads to corruption. And, there's quite a bit, and actually I wouldn't be surprised if this week some industry has corruption revealed. It's that kind of energy. It's that kind of bringing to the surface, bringing all the bad things to the surface so that they can be more transparent, right? It's that kind of energy as well. The gift is equilibrium here, where, once we can stop thinking about the hierarchy that exists in much of society, in many different countries, and live together in harmony, in peacefulness, and in equality, we will have an equilibrium, right? We'll come to an equilibrium where there's a balance in society, and there's not the years and years of war, and then a respite of peace, and war again, and then some peace. I mean, we have just now, right, since the end of the Afghanistan war, gotten to a place where there's actually no war for the United States. And yes, there are pockets of war around the world, and in certain countries, and civil wars and things like that. But the world as a whole is in peacefulness. And that's unusual for the history of civilization. So the more we can move toward that, the better, in my opinion, the better off we'll be. He also says the higher subtle bodies of humankind are designed to self-organize into potent and coherent formations of awakening beings. And so as our vibrations rise, as we all become awakened, and as we kind of hold on to this idea of harmony and equilibrium, the more self-organizing we will be. The easier it'll be to come up with solutions for everybody that everybody can benefit from. a way to clean the oceans, for example, a way to stop the fires, a way to take care of the forests so that they're not as flammable each year, a way to make sure that everyone has clean water all over the world, a way to make sure that our air is always fresh and clean. So these are all things that I would perceive to be harmony. We've got a number of personalities born during this sun gate of 50. And it's interesting because, as I said, it's the cross of laws, it's the cross of values, and the cross of wishes. And so if you look at these names, I was not surprised to find that many of them stood for their values and stood for what they believed in. And many of them were change makers, right? Really change agents within their own countries and sometimes even internationally. So Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the former prime minister of Israel, Alfred Nobel, who did invent, which I didn't realize, he invented dynamite and then created the Nobel Prizes so that he could basically, from what I understood, make up for that creation. Timothy Leary, who was a famous activist, also Bobby Seale, who was the founder of the Black Panthers, Dizzy Gillespie, the jazz trumpeter, Johnny Carson, John Lithgow, the actor, Grover Norquist, who was famously said that the Republican idea of government is to put everybody into a bathtub and drown them. So he had a very distinct point of view about that, right? Not everybody agrees with him, but he had a very distinct point of view. Mickey Mantle, Snoop Dogg, Tom Petty, and Sir James Chadwick, who did get one of the Nobel Prizes in physics, and that was for the discovery of the neutron, which is a very important part of quantum physics. So this week in history, as you can imagine, there were also a lot of things that occurred in the realm of rules and regulations and, kind of laying down that line in the sand where, I'm sorry, no, this country won't go past that. And so it was things like in 1967, there was a march on the Pentagon where Americans were protesting the Vietnam War. There were about 50,000 people there. In 1959, the Guggenheim Museum, which was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, opened. Unfortunately, in 1977, the band Lynyrd Skynyrd, well, at least 3 members of the Lynyrd Skynyrd band passed away in their plane crash, which I remember distinctly, driving to high school that day. In 1954, as a result of the Geneva Accords, the Dwight Eisenhower, who was president, authorized a crash program to train the South Vietnamese army because the North Vietnamese had been granted communist control. And so that was really the beginning of the idea that that Americans should be involved in Vietnam. And, we all know how that ended. But in 1962, it was also the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis when there were Soviet missile sites in Cuba, and then President Kennedy kind of took it from there, and by October 28th had come up with a formula to end the crisis. In 1783, Virginia emancipated slaves who fought for independence during the Revolutionary War. So again, kind of seeing the values of the society, of the people who helped with society, and giving credit for what occurred in society. In 1861, Western Union completed their first transcontinental telegraph line, and putting the Pony Express out of business, by the way. And in 1916, Henry Ford awarded equal pay to women, which I was unaware of, and that, again, it's just the energy of this kind of week where fairness and equality and taking care and nurturing and basically having a real caring feeling for those around you will be prevalent. And then there might just be the opposite of that as well. So you never know. Be kind, be nurturing, and watch out for those around you. It might be an opportunity this week to do a little something for someone that you haven't done in a while, or get in touch with your parents, or get in touch with your kids, or it can go either way these days. So maybe a little communication, a little nurturing is needed at this point. So have a great week. I look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.